Welcome to the George's FTTV YouTube channel. Today we discuss changes that I'd like to see made to SuperCoach for 2024 and also go over my current team at the moment. It's about 10 or 11 days since I last posted the team, something like that, almost 2 weeks. So we'll do a little quick update what I'm thinking, but not much has changed. But regardless, there's two things I want to discuss in terms of changes I want to see made to the game. And the way I see it, I think boosts and trades, probably more boosts, are too abundant for the game. I put a poll on Twitter and it was about 52-48 split in favor of having more boosts and trades, which is interesting. So basically 50-50 really. And then the other one is, the other issue that we face as SuperCoach is, well, fantasy, they can just trade and trade and trade post-buy. They can, post-buy, they might have, 20 trade opportunities for 10 rounds post-buy. It might be 9, can't remember. But we don't really have, everyone's pretty much finished their team at the end of the buys. So in SuperCoach, we don't have much to do post-buy, and user base or user of the app or whatever drops off. My viewers drop off significantly, and just overall less usage happens. So would like to bump that up, and I have an idea roughly of how that can be improved, but it is going to be pretty hard to make substantial impact there. But the first point I want to make, actually, I need to start off, I've shaved my head. There's I'm balding, it sucks, have to deal with it, and hopefully it grows back. Well, we'll see. Anyway, you can see why I had the no camera for the last few videos, but it's what it is. Now, the first thing I want to discuss is boosts and trades. I believe that boosts, 5 of them, are way too overpowered for the game. And yes, we'll start on boosts before we get to trades. So the way I see it is, SuperCoach has become more fast-paced in fantasy. It's become closer to fantasy than old SuperCoach, where there was 30 trades or whatever. It used to be 24, something like that, but for a while there it was about 30 trades, and it felt like a really good amount. But now we've got 36 trades, 5 boosts. There's just a lot of trade opportunities, and more fast-paced in fantasy because of these boosts. We can upgrade our team so quick. Everyone's finished. I think I was almost finished my team. I had 1 or 2 trades left during the buys, which I was holding off because of buy flipping players, just timing. But almost finishing your team round 12, round 13 sort of areas. It's just too fast paced for my liking, or compared to old SuperCoach. So in the way SuperCoach used to be played was, first few rounds, there's a limited, that you've got a limited amount of trades. You have to hold off early on. Then upgrade season starts. You've saved a few trades. You start using up trades then into the buy, and then that's how you do with your team. Whereas now with boosts, especially, if people don't have to think when they want to use a trade boost, if they need to access an extra trade in round 1 or round 2 or round 3 or all of them, they've still got more boosts left, and it's just, okay, I've got a boost, let's just use it. It's very brain dead. There's no thinking required. It's just boost, boost, boost. Whereas in BBL this year, I've actually started playing BBL and actually started watching cricket. Side note, the last time I actually properly watched cricket was when Justin Langer and Matthew Hayden were opening the batting, which was a very long time ago. But anyway, watching BBL. But the point I'm making is, BBL, I believe, had 4 boosts last year, and this year there were only 2 boosts, but the season's a bit shorter. It's gone from 13 rounds to 9 rounds, something like that. So we have 2 boosts to use in 9 rounds. And because, you can't just use your boost straight away, you actually have to think, because you've only got 2 boosts. You have to think, do I boost here? Do I plan ahead? Do I need to save it for a certain round? You actually have to think before you boost. Whereas in SuperCoach, you don't have to think. You got 5 boosts. You just boost away. You want to save a few for upgrade season, but if you really need to fix your team, you just boost. There's no thinking required. So I did like that in BBL, that you had to think about your boosts. So that's a big tick for BBL. Another thing about these boosts that I wanted to add on is, when people are, we have 4 months we have about 3 months since SuperCoach opens. Some people like myself like to do research before that just for fun. But we have 3 months of preseason with the SuperCoach Picker open where we can play around with our teams. And I honestly think that the starting teams should be rewarded more. And I've mentioned this before, but in AFLW Fantasy, basically what happened was in round 1, there were wild price rises and price decreases or price changes. They're just significant changes. And what it meant was, I'm not saying that should happen in SuperCoach, but if you had a really good starting team, you had a good value pick, they went up in price a lot. If you picked the right rookie, they went up in price a lot. It was very hard to correct your team in round 2. In SuperCoach, I believe, obviously not price rises round after round 1, but if you reward the starting team more, I think that's a good thing because we spend so much time. Whereas you can just use 9 trades in 3 weeks and fix everything, and your team will look like everybody else's. So if there were lower trades and more specifically lower boosts, we wouldn't see this happen as much because you'd reward the starting team a little bit more because they actually have to think, do I want a boost here? I kind of need a boost, but I also want some for upgrades. I want to get in. You don't start Bont, he's probably going to require 3 trades to get in. If you don't start Dacos, he's probably going to require 3 trades to get in. You want to save your boosts for these sort of players. Petrarca as well, especially if Oliver is not playing. So you want to save a few boosts, but if we only have three boosts, then you will have to think. So my proposal would be reduce the boosts from 5 to 3 and reduce the trades from 36 to between 32 and 34. It would make the game feel more like what SuperCoach has been since it started, which is a really limited trade format where you pick right now it's all about price. Basically, fantasy tactics dominate the game now. Whereas you can, like old SuperCoach, you just wanted to pick a few top liners, pick your value as well. You still need to pick mostly value, but you can pick a few fair price top liners. Whereas here it's just like it's any pick that isn't value, but they're a top of the line player like a Sicily or a Stewart, for example. You might get punished for picking these sort of players, whereas it hasn't really been the case in much more limited trade times. So hopefully I got my point across. Reduce trades by 2 to 4, and especially I think reducing boosts is a must. Help the starting reward the starting teams a bit more and reward all preseason research basically. So I hate to see just the fact that you can use so many boosts early, and our Discord did really well last year. We held a lot of the top leagues, the top 10 leagues we held for, I think it was 16 or 20, whatever it was, 16-man leagues. And basically the meta was just boost non-stop early. So hopefully that fixes that. The Herald Sun consider doing that. So let me know what you think in the comments about trades and whatnot. Hopefully I explained that clearly. It's not my strong point, explaining stuff. The second thing I want to discuss is how can we improve interaction of the game post-buy. And I have a few suggestions here, and it wouldn't be actually making changes to the mechanics of the game, but basically adding like mini games and leaderboards. So allow me to go on here. So for example, there is a separate leaderboard for Captain Cup, and maybe instead of having, I think the weekly prize was 1,000, and if you're SC Gold subscriber, it would go up to 2,000. If if you wanted to like reallocate money into some of these games, you could make it okay. Winner gets 1,000 if they're a Gold subscriber, extra 500. Because I don't think it actually makes much of a difference. People sign up for Gold for the weekly; they sign up for break evens and whatnot. So the first thing, something like a Captain's Cup, just keep track of who's got the most points via captain. Another one could be a pre, post, and in-buy leaderboard. So for example, you just have a leaderboard for the person that scored the most amount of total points before the buys, the person who has scored the most amount of points during the middle buys, not the early round 0 buys, but the middle buys. And then, when everyone's at full strength with their team, the team that scores the most amount of points post-buy. So something to consider, so doing a leaderboard for that. It might keep more people interested in post-buy, have prizes for that, take it out of the weekly prize. So a lot of money going to, it will also, I'd also scrap completely personally the weekly prize for the buy rounds, because people just make teams on the week or plan for that from round one just to try and win weekly. I don't think that's healthy for the game at all. So that's just my view. The next one here, I can't read my own writing. Another one is, I think Harold Sun used to do this on Twitter, where they'd have an around the grounds, where they'd have basically a team of 4 teams. So for example, me, Eno, JD, and say another mod in our server, Big Seven, who's got his own channel. You can check him out. Say we all sign up as a team of 4, and then everyone else can sign up as a team of 4. They team up with a few mates. And that just goes on a leaderboard, and teams of 4, and however much we score in total, all 4 of us, our total points go on a leaderboard, and then we go up against everyone else. So that could be something to do. People could keep track of that. A bit of bragging rights between podcasters, or I don't know if you've got like a uni or a school or something like that, or work teams. Who's in the best team or whatever, who's doing the best. So that's an idea. And the last one is, we used to have Eliminator. It's still in Sports Sec, but I don't know what's happened to it in SuperCoach. I don't know if the guy just wants the rights for it in Sports Sec, but you could do like, instead of doing just one big Eliminator, you could do like 10 Eliminators, where, the top, I think it's 2048 is a multiple, go into an Eliminator post-buy or something. And then you could have 10 of them all the way up to, I don't know, almost just over 20k rank. So 10 different ones with 2,000 odd each, and have like a prize for that. That way it's much easier for players to actually win something or progress really far, and maybe that would bring more people to the app. So if any of these things are possible, I would think it's worth a try, because it doesn't really affect how you play the game, but rather just another point of interest that people might look at. So that is something that I wanted to do, or wanted to suggest. So just leaderboards and games and stuff like that, keep people interested and add a bit of prizes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So those are the 2 things. I think the Herald Sun have done a good job in making changes. Obviously, like when they added boosts, it was a point of difference. It was something new. Obviously, like Fantasy was doing all this new stuff with DPPs and whatnot, whereas SuperCoach kind of got its own boosts. So I think it was a good idea. I just think it was too much. So we have got to change, and I don't think the game needs significant change, but I do feel like the game is closer to Fantasy than what SuperCoach has been in the past. So that's the direction they want to take. I guess that's fine, but I think it should be more SuperCoach than Fantasy. But that is me. Now we'll go over our team briefly. So not much has changed. I can't remember if I had Sheezel or not, but I put Sheezel in my defense. I'm running 6 defenders if AM1 gets TPP at the moment. So I think I don't have the balls to start without Nick Dacos. I think my enjoyment of the game will be completely ruined if I don't pick him and he does well when he's too hard to get. Obviously he has the bye, so you get some relief there. But I just feel, in round, here's the ball, I think it's round 4 or 5, and then round 6 comes, people are trying to get him in. Maybe Bont's dropped, maybe a forward has got TPP and they've gone back in the midfield like a Luke Parker or Josh Kelly a few years ago. Josh Kelly was AFL Fantasy DPP, so I don't think he ever got DPP in SuperCoach, but if something like that happens, there might be a high priority forward, a high priority somewhere else, whereas I feel like I'd be tearing up the team to get Dacos in. And as you're trying to get him in, you just know a 150 is around the corner. So I don't want to deal with that. And I think what helps is he's priced at 116. There's an injury game priced into him, so I expect him to outdo the 116. I'm just going to pick him. So I've got the, probably the most talented defenders on this list, along with Sinclair, I guess. I guess Ridley's pretty talented too, but I've got Sicily and Stewart. Just hard to see them not being top of their position. Sicily's a bit more interesting. I think Stewart is just Stewart, but Sicily with Amon back there. I think Sicily and Amon, when they played together 5 games, when Amon moved to halfback, I think Sicily was about 106 average, and Amon was about 108 average. So see how that goes, but I've got both at the moment. It's sort of keeping an eye on it. So Not sure I want to pick both though, but we'll see. But if Amon can do 100 plus, which he did in the role, then at that price, that's fine for D6. Still got Williams. I probably should spend a bit of time on Sheasel, I guess. I think he's primed to have a good year. It sounds like his running's improved, and the talk is defense and mid. And it's just hard to see him being used forward a lot because they just need the ball in his hands. So we'll monitor that. I've got Williams and Caulfield on field, and then rookies are pretty much whatever. I just hate that I have to pay for Williams because he's very annoying, very injury prone. Comes back unfit and stuff like that. So, but it sounds like he's in much better shape at the moment, but you're still not in full training. What's interesting is if we get a lot more defender rookies named. For example, I think it's Virgil, if that's how you say it, from West Coast, could get a gig. But they do have Witherden and Hoff and a few others back there. He was injured all last year, was taken, I think it was a pretty high pick a few years ago. And the other one is Marty Hoare, if he gets a gig. So that'll be interesting to watch. Can he play with Salem and McVie in the team? I'm not too sure. So yeah, if Marty Hoare plays, you probably got to pick him. But is there room for him back there? We'll find out. And if he does play, he's definitely one I want on the field as a rookie. And then midfield, I'm really not sure about the mids. Excuse me. Butters, I like. Only 61% CBAs last year. I think that can get a little bit of a bump, hopefully. And yeah, he's really good to watch. Really, I don't know, just dominates, accelerates, and score assists. And yeah, really smart player. So he's good to watch. I've got Andy at the moment. I do slightly worry with Andy is if his CBAs potentially drop, because one, he's not the best clearance player, and two, they've got Young and Sarong in there now. I guess they've got Fife still there, they're going to play Fife. MJ and Erasmus, do they want to give more time to them? They've got O'Meara. Someone's going to suffer, and it could be Brayshaw because he could spend a bit of time on the wing because he can do that. But I'm not sure. Maybe Fremantle supporters can help me out here, but I do like Andy. That's something just going to monitor in the preseason. And then I've still got Matt Crouch. He did 108 when he came back into the team. I don't see why he can't do something similar to that. And for that price, priced in the, I think, high 80s, low 90s. I think it's high 80s, actually. So if I can see 20 points up, 15 to 20 points upside, hopefully, and then has the last buy, plays all the way through, which would be good. Then I've got Amon again, hoping he sticks in the half-back role, but you know, what if they get a few injuries on the wing? All of a sudden, they've got depth at half-back. Do they just throw Amon onto the wing? That is a bit of a worry, but given the price and upside, I'll take the punt for now, but we'll see how we go. Don't think you should really take punts necessarily, but we'll see. Depends what else is available and whatnot. And then the mids, McKercher, Sanders, Sharp on field, that's probably going to stay. Gorn, Grundy combo, that will stay unless something else happens. Cherry's there, he's cheap. I know someone in our Discord's looking at old Shrek in the ruck. He plays 2 more games than Grundy, which is interesting. But Shrek also has a limited preseason and is 100k more. So that's something to monitor, old Shrek. But I think his just durability is just too much of a headache for me. So, and maybe they use Luke Jackson more in the ruck every now and then. I'm not sure. Forward line, I've thrown McRae in. He wasn't in my last team draft, but I just love Jack McRae, and just still don't know what we're going to get from him. So hopefully we'll learn something in the off-season. But I did mention in another video that there is a rumour that he played through sore ribs in the back end of last year. So hopefully that is sorted and was true, and an excuse for him to score poorly, I guess. But hopefully, yeah, he's all good because we love Jack McRae. Flanders, I'm a big fan of. I've seen a bit of discussion on Twitter about uncertainty over Flanders. I can get it from the point that like Dimmer's coming in, but I just find it hard to see him being taken out of the midfield given the way he performed, and he signed a contract there, probably knowing Dimmer was going to be the coach. So I'm definitely sticking with Flanders, and he won't move. And then Jack Billings, I think people are catching on to Billings. You just have to look at his numbers from 2023 2023 or 22, I can't remember. One of the 2 years, I think it was 2022, and they were quite good at half forward. So for a half forward role, so he could do, I think he averaged like, when you take out the injury games, it was like 90 plus or something from half forward. So I'm not sure that's sustainable, but mid to high 80s I think is doable for him with a full preseason now. He's coming off a broken leg and a few other injuries, so had a rough one. So if he gets a clean run at it, he could push. Yeah, he could make a fair bit of money. So lots of he's 28, same draft as Bont, so lots of preseason under his belt. Whereas a lot of the other guys are like a Sardis or Elijah Hewitt in that sort of price range. Very, very, very young, so hard to know. Philippou as well. Harley Reid, everyone has, and then Darcy Wilson. I'm hoping we get some decent forward rookies. Sean Manor hopefully plays, but there's a few. There's like a Bauer. If Lazaro plays or Finn McRae, they could be players that could probably go on the field depending on their role and whatnot. Maybe not Lazaro because he could be big sub risk, but Lazaro can rack it up. So anyway, that's the team. That's my also suggestions for SuperCoach 2024. And Happy New Year and whatnot. Hope you had a good Christmas. And I'll do a Q&A soon. I'll post that and you can post comments. And I'll do a Q&A for that. And it should be good. So thank you for watching and we'll see you in the next video.